Hello. Welcome to episode 22 of the Empowered Hearts podcast. So, Crystal and I this morning were having a very honest conversation. And I was like, hey, we need to podcast this because we cannot be the only people going through it. And I think this can be really beneficial to help people. So, today is August 1st. There has been some weird energy. Chiron is in retrograde in Aries. Chiron represents the wounded healer. And from what I have read, I'm not that versed in astrology, but I'm versed enough to be able to understand this and explain. It is bringing up past traumas. And over the last week into this week, I don't know when it goes direct, but and now we're in the 8/8 portal. So
I think it's Sunday, isn't it? On the new moon.
that it goes direct.
I think so.
Okay, well we can
Maybe
look.
not.
But it's just everybody that I've spoken to, myself included, you know, other friends, it's just we're really going through it right now, and we wanted to offer you guys like some tools and to let you guys know you're not alone, and that right now you're either overly emotional, overwhelmed, overloaded, overly frustrated. The theme right now is like overly
Over something. Overly
like
sensitive.
overly sensitive, yes, overly tired, overly angry, and it's all from a past trauma or traumas or patterns. And what's happening is they're coming to the forefront to be cleared. So you're not alone, and to look at this stuff as a positive, because on like, and then I realized, okay, on every 8/8 portal, I really hate giving into this stuff because I'm like, the calendar was made up by humans. So I'm like, how could this be a thing? Even though I'm very much into numbers and numerology, when it comes to the calendar, I'm like, this is bullshit because mankind made it up. But there is something to be said about astrology, and over the 8/8 portal, since I've been spiritually awakened, I can tell you right now with certain my life has changed every single time. I left my partner over the 8/8 portal. I'm sorry if you're listening. I don't mean to be an asshole, but it just like we were not good. And it's just funny that like I left then, I didn't plan that, and my life quantum leaped in the sense of like I was able to find myself, right? And then last year I bought my house over the 8/8 portal randomly, really random. Just like I felt the pulse and I did it. And I also shared my first reel last over the 8/8 portal. And now this year I've been gifted a year contract for my business. So to work to be contracted out for my business in a naturopathic doctor's office. So but it's like, that's wonderful. But on the other side of that is like duality. So why don't you share some of your duality that you're experiencing?
I'm turning my ring light down because I'm like this.
Oh, okay.
It is so bright. But what I wanted to say quickly, just to touch on what you were saying, is the 8/8 portal is about the astrology.
Okay.
That's what I learned this today, though.
Okay.
It just popped up on my TikTok, a video. It is about like the alignment of certain planets.
Oh, right. Boy, it's got chills. Woo!
Yeah. So
it's
that
the
is
Lionsgate portal.
Yeah, it's the Lionsgate portal. Sunday, I don't know about Chiron going direct. It was Mercury retrograde start Sunday. And we have the new moon. So that is just whew. New moon is about new beginnings.
Yes.
And then the 8/8 portal, the Lionsgate portal is like it is like one of the most important portals to manifest. That's what's so special about it. Because the veil is so thin.
Yes.
So it's like all about like focusing on like what you want, new intentions. Anyway, so let's talk about the overlies.
I'm just Googling when Chiron goes direct.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Is it today?
No, it's December.
Wonderful.
Well, guys, look, you're not alone. I have been, I was in a deep depression. I'm sure you guys could hear on the last episode how not myself I was. I fell flat into a deep depression for 7 days from what had happened to me earlier this year. I was diagnosed with PTSD and major depressive disorder. And my understanding is like major depressive disorder can come in waves. So I
Yep.
had a major depression, an episode earlier this year, and then I had it over the past 7 days. I'm fine. Like I have support. I understand the tools. I understand how to lean into it, and it's lifted because I think because I leaned into it and I surrendered. I was like, fine. So maybe
Yep.
I'm not going to speak this into existence, but I'm going to acknowledge that this might happen again while, and you guys are not alone in whatever you're feeling. So take it as a sign to use it as something to correct in your life. It's like whatever's coming up
Mm-hmm.
is saying, okay, something's out of alignment. It doesn't mean your life is shit or that you're helpless. It's like you're out of alignment somewhere. You're overworked or overwhelmed, and normally you can handle it. Right now, you can't. Look at that like maybe I should tweak something in my life to
Mm-hmm.
give myself a break. If you're, feeling too much anxiety, anxiety is fear. Like, what are you running away from? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on that maybe you're not speaking about? Or if it's in Crystal's case, it this morning was overwhelmed and
Yep.
overloaded, like just with
Yep.
responsibilities. And I said to her, well, what can you do tangibly to take a load off yourself? Because it's like you can't
Yep.
meditate away all the time.
No, and see, I made a little reel about this today because what it really came down to for me was is happiness attainable? Like, is it something that we are always constantly working towards, or is it something that we can actually reach this place? And when we're feeling overwhelmed and overloaded or stressed or anxious or any of the things, it's like it feels so far away from where you are. And the conclusion that I came to was happiness looks different for everybody. Whatever happiness means to you might be different than what it means to me. And what I
Mhm.
decided was that anytime I feel overwhelmed or overloaded, it's because I feel like I don't get to choose.
Okay.
It's like the choice of life is taken away from me, and now I'm drowning in all of it. And that is a real feeling for a lot of people because we put so much pressure on ourselves. And it's not just internal pressure, it's external pressure too. So I decided that, okay, so happiness to me would mean having choice. Having choice to me feels more freeing. Freedom feels more like peace, and like when I feel peaceful, I feel happy.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, in my experience, to choice. So, like you said, what can I do tangibly to change my life? Really, there's a lot of things I can't change, but the one thing that I can do for myself is start taking time away from my home, my work, my kids, my pets, and like taking myself on me dates.
Yeah.
And I know that that is sounds ridiculous,
No.
but I have to physically leave this house to feel like I have a break.
Yep.
And if I consciously choose to do that, I could even do it every day for an hour or whatever, maybe not every day. Then I am making the choice to just take a breather,
Hmm.
to have that space, to have that freedom. So for me, that is definitely one thing that I can do differently.
Yeah. So yeah, like I meditation and the tools like shaking and screaming into a pillow and all these things are so supportive. But right now,
Yeah.
the energy is like, okay, you got to change something.
Yeah.
Like it's got to go a little bit further than the tools. It's not just for management. It's like there's like a magnifying glass on what's not working or
Yeah.
what you need to tweak it a little bit. And so tweak it a little bit, because your life will improve immensely.
Yeah, because you know how they say like it's an inside job?
Yeah.
It's like when you're working on all the inside stuff, because like we work hard at it. Like having a practice is, you know, something that we try to implement every day, which is a great tool for everyone listening. Having some kind of sacred practice for you or multiple practices a day to help bring your mind to a state of ease, you know, whatever, if it's meditation, getting out in nature, exercising,
Yes.
you know, like, and meeting all your needs and that kind of thing. But sometimes it's more than just that. It's like I can't wake up every day and repeat the same process and expect something to change.
Yeah.
Like I physically have to change. And this is where it kind of goes against like spirituality, change within, then the outside changes. Sometimes we do need to change the choices that we're making on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I think the basis of spirituality is an inside job, but we are also living on the earth where things are 3D. And,
Mhm.
like we'd have to eat food and like those things
Yeah.
are 3D, excuse me. And, sometimes we do have to change things on the outside. It doesn't, I think it's just like not solely relying on externally, right?
Yeah.
But it's rely on your internal, when your internal compass is like, I have done the work and I'm
Hmm.
still fucking raging. Okay, what is not working in my external reality that I need to change? Because
Yeah.
if you've done all the work and you've done all the work, like sometimes we have to give ourselves grace and like move things around. And it's
Hmm.
having the courage and having the audacity and knowing we're worthy to just do that and like not
Hmm.
make a big deal out of it. Like, this isn't working. Okay. Like, I had a conversation with somebody today and they were like, whatever's going on in my internal world is becoming so loud, I can't ignore it anymore. And they've decided to go to therapy for the first
Hmm.
time in their life. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yep.
So that is yes, it's like the internal compass and reality is dictating what we are doing on the outside. And
Hmm.
that's, I mean, it always is, but it's like being able to see it, like acknowledging and then being like, oh, okay, this is where I need to change my life, or here, or here, or here.
Yeah. It's like a balance between both the inner
Yeah.
and the outer. You
Yeah.
know, it's like,
Hmm.
where are you going to find that balance?
Yeah.
But like, so another great tip that I like to do if I'm feeling overwhelmed, if it's like overwhelmed with sound or overwhelmed with light or people or anything really, is like, how can I help myself to make it less? If I need space, quiet time, if I want to like shut my curtains, and because that stuff is real. Sometimes we wake up and we're overly sensitive,
Yep.
right? It's like, okay, I just need to be alone for a little bit. I'm not going to go to town today. Like, what kinds of things can I do differently and to help take that load off my shoulders?
Yep.
Do I have to do XYZ today or can it wait till tomorrow?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, just like, yeah.
Yeah. I found that when I was in that depressive episode for the past 7 days, I was like, I physically cannot go to town and go grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I could not shower. Like, I couldn't, it was like bad. I was incapable of looking after my own needs. And so I was like, well, I'm ordering food. Like, I have to do what is best for me in this moment. And
Yes.
we can't shame ourselves for that either. Like, we have to meet ourselves where we're at with
Mm-hmm.
love and kindness. And okay, so you can't go to town. That's good. Like, don't push yourselves. We shouldn't be overly pushing all the time either. It's
I
like,
agree.
where
Yeah.
are we right now? And I know that you and I also were just talking about like, when, if you're on a spiritual journey and you start to reach these higher levels of consciousness of like truly tapping into joy, that when
Mm-hmm.
you dip from that,
Mm-hmm.
you feel it so much harder,
Mm-hmm. It's so
right?
true. Yeah. Instead of like, it was
Mediocre to
it
low,
was
it's
more
like,
like this before,
yeah,
whereas now it's like extremes.
yeah,
Feels more extreme.
Yeah. You're like, because you're so high. I was saying to you, I'm like, I feel like I'm bipolar, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, maybe, I often say this, maybe people like doctors are think this is what bipolar is and this is what we've been told we are, but
Yeah.
really we're just feeling different feelings on the scale of feelings and the scale of consciousness, and we're going from joy to depression. And so like, let's take a pill.
That's like this joy
Yeah.
to depression, like two total
And
opposite.
but I went through that.
I
And
know.
so would I be told that I'm bipolar if I went and told this to a doctor?
Yes. And one of the things that I've learned recently about healers
Mm-hmm.
is we transmute a lot of, I mean, whatever our person that we're working with is feeling collectively, like we process that,
Yeah.
right? And so we do experience the extremes so that the other souls around us are a little bit more even keel. Like we clairsentiently, yeah.
Are we getting a paycheck in the mail or kidding?
Yeah, when does this pay out? It doesn't. I
It
mean, it does because
it
we're
does.
serving
We have
humanity. We're serving light. Like it's a beautiful thing, but yeah, we don't get a check for
no.
that.
We do it.
Maybe unexpectedly from the universe, though.
We accept donations if anybody wants to give us. We are open for donation. We have a donation box we will be setting up after this call. Um,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just teasing. Not really, but okay. What else can we share about the overs? So there's overwhelmed and overloaded and overly anxious and overly sensitive. What about, oh, you said overstimulated is for
Oh,
me
yep.
a really big one, because
Mhm.
as bubbly as I can be and as goofy and sarcastic and like, as you know, like last night I was like
Yeah.
I was so goofy, but I can get very overstimulated. So it's like I'm like, yeah, I'm right there, right there, I'm right there. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go home now. Like I'm like my battery is about to fry. So
Yep.
it's not that my battery is depleted, it's that it's frying. And so I'm like, zzz, like it's too much. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Hmm. Like, does that ever happen to you?
Overstimulation is a big one for me. Mostly to, oh my gosh, like all my senses, if I'm being honest. Sound
Yeah.
is really challenging, especially if it's really loud and high pitched. It's like it I don't even know what it does to my body. I want to escape my body.
Mm.
It's okay if it's lower vibration, like bass or that kind of thing, but like high pitched, like a shrill scream or like dog bark, it just like that. Too much energy in my field is overstimulating. So this is why I have a hard time navigating like crowds,
Yep.
and just overstimulated in general with just too many things going on. Like it's just really, really beneficial for me to just come into my room, shut the door, and just take like a little bit of time to myself just to be in my own energy. I find that's really beneficial.
Well, this goes to human design, and I'm working on finding somebody to come on the podcast for this, because lately it's been just everything I do. I'm like, what's your human design? I'm talking about it.
Yes.
I'm like, Morgan, you don't know what you're talking about, but I'm just like talking about it. But when I found what my human design was, which I'm a projector, I was like, oh my God, like I'm not crazy,
Yeah.
because your energy levels as a projector, they are like, if you think about a bipolar person, it's like they're huge and then they die. And then they're huge and then they
Okay.
die. And it's like, and like I am very on, uh, I'm very witty and I'm on the ball, I'm on the ball, I'm on the ball, and I can do a lot in a very condensed amount of time. Like I can
Yeah.
at a problem and solve it way quicker than somebody who's maybe a generator. Like I'd be able to have like a less steps to be able to get there. It's just like direct, but then I crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like flat on my back for 4 days and I've got to recharge and I'm not this bubbly person. I'm just like, no, it's just, and so I think it depends like on your energy levels, like
Mm-hmm.
manifesting generator. So you have
Yep.
a generator, but you also have the manifestor energy, which is similar to a projector's.
Yep.
So, but if you're a generator, like if you think about like a generator, like, you plug in, it's energy that's just constant. I mean, it doesn't last forever, but essentially it does. Like it just goes even keel, and that's
Yeah.
what our society is built for.
One thing that I've learned, because I've actually been diving into a lot of my human design too. And for anyone listening, it's literally so simple. You can just Google it and put your information in, and your whole chart will pop up. It'll tell you everything that you need to know. Like mine is so detailed that I haven't read the whole thing. But
Mhm.
if I am living in alignment with like my human design, I always have energy.
Mhm.
It's like if I take care of myself, if I'm doing things that light me up, if I have that freedom and choice, which is part of my human design, um, like I'm a leader by human design, then I'm always lit up and I feel amazing. So the more that I've learned about it, the more it's easier to live in alignment and
Yeah.
understand why we are the way we are. Like you understand why you feel overwhelmed and overloaded. Like what are your triggers?
Right.
Right?
Right. Like it's because yours is your not self is frustration, correct?
Yes.
So my not self is bitterness. So when I get like a bit sour, I'm like, ooh, okay. Like that,
Yep.
it takes a lot for me to get there. But when I get there, and it's also my scorpionic energy, like once you get me there, like you can't undo that. Um, like you can't, like
You're just like, no, we're camping out.
when I say no to something, like I don't go back. It's
Mm-hmm.
it could be like detrimental as 555 on the clock as I say that. It could be detrimental, but in the way my brain and energy works, it's just it makes sense to me. It's like I will give somebody so many chances and then it's like, nope, okay, I'm now bitter, and I use that as like um sort of a way for me to like navigate. Have I overgiven here? Is it time for me to,
Overextended.
yeah, I've overextended. There's another one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Overextending ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
giving to overgiving, right? We give too much. It's like
Overly giving. Yep.
really giving to people. We give to our children, our family, our friends, and our coworkers, and we think we need
Mm-hmm.
to give. It's like the people pleasing train and needs to stop. Like
Yeah, it's
when
so
is it
true.
us? When is it like,
So true.
and like to say this to somebody who's never thought about this, it's fucking mind blowing. Whoa, like I
To me,
matter.
I'm like, this is old news.
I know, but
I know. Yeah. No,
yes,
it's true.
yes, you matter.
Yep.
I had a download come through the other day of a master, or not of a mastermind, of a master class to teach on self-love, because
Yeah. Yep.
it is the premise of everything that I do in my work, everything that how I operate, and like people still don't fully grasp it. And
Yep.
like, some people don't even understand it at all. And over giving and over stretching yourself and people pleasing, that is not an act of self-love. Like I understand sometimes you have to.
I think it comes from a actual place of lack of self-love, and we reach out to other people in order to feel loved by doing.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
it's like, actually, if you take that energy that you're pouring out and start pouring it back inward, which for somebody who is an overgiver,
Mhm.
one, it is extremely hard to start to learn how to say no to people. This is something that I've been teaching in my business as well. And two, you feel selfish for
Yeah.
taking time for yourself. It's like you feel like you're doing something wrong because you're so used to living in that narrative of, well, I receive what I give. But it's like, no, like you can't give from a place of emptiness,
Right. And
right? Like it, yeah.
the saying of like over the match to an Victoria says this, a match to an overgiver is an overtaker. And it's true.
Mhm.
It's and so like you and we need to be secure in ourselves, and by pouring back into you,
Mhm.
you will attract the people that respect that and that also pour into themselves and that naturally respect your boundaries. Like
Mhm.
that's how it works. The energy
Yeah.
match doesn't work by like if you all of a sudden think that you're going to throw up your boundaries and then you do feel weird because that's natural. If you're so
Yeah.
used to like giving, 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 and then all of a sudden you say no, it does feel really selfish. But when you get comfortable with putting yourself first, and it's like not in a selfish way, but just in a
Mhm.
self-respect way,
Yeah.
you do not want people around you that are going to be pulling on your coattail. Like you'll be like, get away. Like that the
Yeah.
natural response will be like this.
Yep.
And like you guys, like the energy just won't match. Like you wouldn't want to be around somebody like that, and somebody like that wouldn't want to be around you because
Yep.
they can't pull anything from you. You don't want to give. And it's like the whole thing of when we give that much, it's really to be seen. It's really to be
Mhm.
validated when the job is really reversed. You need to be see yourself, validate yourself first, and then be in the presence of another, right?
Yeah. It's
You
a
need to be able
whole
to
journey.
hold yourself. Yeah.
It's a whole journey. It's like, it's a, like remembering that the number one relationship you will ever have will be to yourself, because that is a forever relationship. Like you're not escaping that.
Yes.
And it is the one relationship that we neglect.
Well, we don't, but I think we do a pretty
No, we don't. I
yeah.
mean, as like
Yeah, like
people,
yes,
like
yes.
it's not something we were ever taught.
It's so odd. It's odd that society as a whole does not teach this.
Mhm.
And I mean, the, I believe that the reason this isn't taught is because if we were all aware, we would not lean into fear. We would not lean into the government the way we do. We would not lean into
Yeah, the narrative. Yeah.
someone's better than me. If
Hmm.
we all realize like we have the answers within, life would
Hmm.
be a lot different. It really would.
Yep.
You know, the masses wouldn't have the control that they do. So through the years of like many, many years of indoctrination of like fear,
Mhm.
we've just, this is how it is. We got to like give to these because if we give, we're good people. You know, you got to take care of your neighbor and do like, I'm not saying to be an asshole, but I'm saying like, if you don't have the capacity to cut your grass today, who gives a fuck what your neighbor has to say?
Yep. Absolutely. But that's like coming from a place of fear too, because people want to be validated.
Yes.
And there, and a lot of souls, me being one, I used to be this way. I was so scared to like disappoint someone or to look like less than in somebody's eyes. So it was like a constant uphill battle of trying to please everyone
Yeah.
instead of just like being like, you're wonderful just as you are.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you need to do to prove to anybody.
No.
Just be you. Like, how much peace does that bring to your body just saying that?
It just like lets me melt, you know?
Yeah, it's like self acceptance is, I honestly think that's like one of the first steps to self love.
Yeah.
Self acceptance.
Self-acceptance is so important. And like it goes along with self-respect and
Yeah.
self-love and all of the selves. Like it's an act of, I always say this, if you don't understand what self-love means, I want you to think about how you look at somebody you love and how you
Hmm.
treat them. You need to do that to yourself first. And it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you don't care about somebody else if you're not doing that for them first. It just means that like, what about you?
Yeah.
And nobody thinks this way. Like there are people who are narcissistic who take this to the nth degree, who don't
Hmm.
do this with love and kindness, but having like a small bit of narcissism and a healthy way of like self-preservation is the best for all, because when you're your best,
Yep.
you show up as your best for other people. You know, it
It's
doesn't mean you
so
have to feel
true.
perfect and bubbly and this. It just means like when you're kind to yourself and you're healthy and you feel good, like that's when you actually get to be of service to
Well,
anybody.
and self-talk is huge because
Yes,
we tend to be the hardest on ourselves.
we are.
And like pick ourselves apart, find everything that we don't like about ourselves and want to change it. And it's like never ending. But like you'll look at your best friend or you'll look at your child or your partner and you'll think, like, I just love you so much.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like filling that gap. Like, can you see yourself like that?
Well, I think what happens is like when we look at somebody else, we see them as a whole. We see the
Yeah.
whole version. We see their physical, their personality, their emotion self. We see the whole, like people like you see the whole aura. Like it's
Hmm.
like the whole thing. When we look at ourselves, if you haven't understood the work, we see the physical and we're like, I
Hmm.
don't like this and I don't like this and da 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 da. And we pick at this and or I said the wrong thing or I did the wrong thing. And we don't look at ourselves as like a whole person, a whole being. We look at just the physical, number one. That's always what we look at. There's nobody that just looks in the mirror and is like, wow, I'm fucking proud of you. Like that has to be taught because we're
Hmm.
3D when, we come in and we just see the 3D first.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
yeah,
I actually have two programs. Remember You Too is all about literally remembering that you exist and that you're the most important thing in your entire life. So let's put you first for 21 days. That's that program. And then I also have a self-love program too,
you do.
which is really beautiful.
Guys are interested, please message Crystal on Instagram.
Yeah.
You find out when your programs are starting.
I should launch a program. Should
Yeah.
do that. Huh.
Yeah, it's so impactful to understand when you're stretching yourself too much in any capacity, whether it's
Yep.
anxiety, depression, overwhelm,
Yep.
stress, overstimulation. I mean, I feel like the theme, like I said, we've discussed like the theme right now is over, but it's also to look at like, am I bored? Am I
Yep.
like, what is going on and how can I address it with love?
Yep. Amen. And you
Amen.
can't overly love or overly care for you.
No,
So
you
that's
cannot.
the overlies that you need to be
Yes, the
concentrating on.
only overly you need is overly self-love. I don't
Yes,
know if overly is a word, but it is now.
it is. I'm gonna put it in the dictionary.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Me too.
I don't know. I feel like we're complete. This has just rolled really well today.
Yeah, I feel like we've touched on everything that, yeah, that feels good. What does it mean to you today, Morgan, to have an empowered heart?
Um, let me feel into this. I would say slowness is really,
Mm,
really helping me stay healthy and
mm,
helping me care for myself and helping me stay open and helping me feel the most empowered with an empowered heart is like life being slow and not
mm,
like I have to do 1,000 things to be worthy and blah 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 blah. Like no, because like
mhm.
I can get that way very easily. It's very knee jerk for me to just be like, I have to do, and I'm like, for what? Like I'm like, Morgan, I literally stop myself and I say out loud, I'm like, Morgan, this is your life.
Yep.
You live by yourself. Who are all you doing? Like, what is this, all this over stuff that I'm doing for? And I'm like, oh, that's a program. I'm like, okay,
Mm,
that's a program
mhm.
from the Matrix. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, come back to self and be slow. When I live a slow and intentional life, I
Yeah.
am full of wisdom. I am full of confidence and I'm way easier. My work is so easy.
That must be in your human design,
It must be.
right?
we're gonna
And
find.
I did see a energy update for August, and that's like the theme.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
like slow, calm, peace. And I'm like, all of this, yes. And I
Yes.
did not wake up this morning feeling this way, and today is August 1st. So what?
What about you? What does it feel like to you right now to have an empowered heart?
Mm. I think it's about just presence.
Mm.
I think presence for me, I always come back to this, but it is the key. It's like it's where I feel the strongest, actually. The most powerful
Yes.
is in the present moment.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's like everything, if you guys are like cannot put your finger on what presence is, if you've like being in the present, all of the mind narration just stops.
Yeah.
It's like just it's such a good feeling. It's like you are in total and
Yeah.
utter peace. Like it's lovely.
Yeah. I think it's similar to mindfulness. Like I've been seeing a lot of um things on mindfulness, and it's like when you're making coffee and you just watch the coffee
Yes.
drip into the pot. It's
Yeah.
like that's all you're concentrating on.
Yeah.
Just something neutral.
Yes.
Something in this moment, like we're literally just sitting here. We're not thinking about what's next. We're not thinking about anything except just being right here right now, and that is presence.
Yep.
And I find in the present moment nothing else matters and everything else just kind of fades away.
Yep. And
And I
time you have so much more time
yeah,
somehow because
yeah.
it's like because you're effectively doing one thing with all of your energy and it just okay, that took like 10 minutes. If you were all over the place, that thing you were doing would take about
Mhm,
an hour because you're wasting time because you're not focused.
mhm,
It's like be
mhm.
present, be focused, do this, and then move on to the next. But it's not as it's intentional. Like you have to intentionally practice it. But
My
life,
favorite my favorite practice to do, I work this one into every single program that I have, and it's the first one that we do. And all you do to practice presence is ask yourself, am I present?
that
Over and over, multiple
helped me.
times a day.
Yep, Crystal, you like Crystal has helped me immensely when I've been having some rougher days in my life. Crystal's been like, just ask yourself, are you present? And I
Yeah.
do it over and over, and I'm like, yes, I am. And it's just like it like puts a smile on your face because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all of that grief and stress and overthinking is
Yeah.
gone. There's another overly overthinking. Like, man,
Oh, yeah. And that creates a lot of overwhelm in the body,
yeah,
overthinking, fear, anxiety, whatever kind of thoughts are in your mind, your body is going to produce too much of that.
yep. So just you like sit down, meditate for you can like it can be 3 minutes. You can just
Mhm.
be breathe, focus on your belly. Also the vagus nerve reset. Like I was
Yes, that
explaining
is fabulous.
putting your hand, interlacing your hands like this behind your back, or excuse me, behind your head, and then looking at laying flat on the ground or on the bed, like with no pillow, looking up at the ceiling, taking your eyes to one side, waiting until you yawn or sigh, and then bringing
Mhm.
it back to the center, and then going to the other side.
But like not moving your head.
Yeah, don't move your head, just move your
You're
eyes.
only moving your eyes. Yeah.
And when I can't sleep, that's like I do that every night and it like drops me into my body.
Hmm.
It'll cause you to often yawn after that a few times
Hmm.
and you're like I'm back in rest and digest. I can chill out and it's just like letting your body know you're safe and that you can relax and that you can be in the moment and you don't have to be on alert.
Yeah, that's a beautiful practice. We did that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Bella and her cousin and I are laying on the carpet. We're all doing it at the same time. And I instantly was like yawning. And then I yawned like 10 times after I did it. It was amazing.
Yeah. That's great.
So, yeah, that's a really beautiful practice too.
Okay, well, until next time, we love you guys and we'll see you again.
Bye.